All right.
Uh, so, welcome to RIGCAST. You're my first guest
Thank
after
you.
the tour. I'm excited to talk to you. Actually, you have a big part of that tour, believe it or not.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so we know each other from the past few years. We've talked.
Yeah.
You were helping me find a tech gig, and this right after the pandemic. Everything was
Yep.
a little rough to say the least. And
Very. Yeah.
So when that was going on, it was just hard to find something. No luck. It was like constant. So I got the bright idea to ask Slackjaw, and it just happened this May.
Very cool.
So how you
Very
been doing,
cool.
man?
Good. Just staying busy with stuff. Working on the new Heathen record and you know, my day job and the
The
usual
usual.
stuff.
I feel you. I feel you. I'm excited for the new Heathen album. I need to jump back into Heathen. It's been way too long. Can't learn any songs. I'm not that technical.
Yeah, the last album did really well for us, Empire of the Blind. And we just in March we just released a live album, Bleed the World Live. It came out killer. The sound on it sounds incredible. Zeus mixed the mix he did was it's killer. We recorded it all over the U.S. We basically recorded every show on the Overkill tour that we did in the U.S. in I think it was 2023, and then went through and picked the best versions of each song and put together the live album. We were able to record the audience also. We had mics on the audience, so everything's it's all natural and sounds killer, dude. It came out great. We're stoked on it. So looking forward to going back, getting back and finishing the new record. Jason Bittner recorded the drum tracks for it. The drums are done. All the rhythm guitars and overdubs are done. I got a couple more solos to do, um, and then we got to get the rest of it recorded. So
Yeah,
it's coming out great though so far.
I'm looking forward to it. I did hear some of the live album when it came
Okay,
out.
cool.
I didn't get to listen to the full thing yet, but it sounded really good. I
Thanks,
was
man.
I was really impressed with that. And you're also the man behind the Exodus tab book, so that begs the question: are we
Yeah.
getting any more?
I don't know. I gotta talk to Gary about it. I kind of put all that stuff. I'm still putting out tab books, just not as many. Um, it's a time consuming process, and when I do it, I want to do it right. And you have some of the books, so like the quality of the book itself is really good. It's like the old tab books that I used to get when I was a kid, and I want to make sure that if anything's done, it's super high quality. So the things that I've released lately, I've done a couple of Heathen tab books. Um, One of them, the Breaking the Silence book, we all wanted to like play more songs from the record, and I want to make sure that we're playing them right. So the we got those songs transcribed, and I have the some of the actually isolated tracks from Victims of Deception. So we're going to go through and do the same process with that and make sure that everything, if we ever play Fear of the Unknown or some one of the more obscure songs from that record, I want to make sure that we do it right. So as far as the Exodus guitar books, I mean, I want to do Pleasures of the Flesh. I want to do Impact is Imminent. Um, I mean, I'd love to do all of the records, honestly, but it's just a matter of time. And then also, like I want to talk to Gary about it and make sure, anything that's done for that band, I would go through and talk with him and make sure that we're cool and doing it right, and so
Yeah, because I hanged out with Gary in November and played Nan King in front of him. I was missing a little, couple little details. So a book would have been handy. Would have been
yeah,
a little
yeah.
more prepared. So I now know how to play it right. Hopefully, I still got it right. But that's like when I was on tour with Slackjaw too. Like I played one of their songs from them. They're like, "Wow, you're really overcomplicating it," and it turns out it's really simple.
Yeah.
So because
Yeah, I
like,
mean, a lot of Gary's stuff is it, it's unique. He thinks a little bit outside the box in terms of how to play some of the stuff, like Death Amphetamine, that whole thing that he did with the bending the string and the bar goes down just enough so you get a unison note, like stuff like that. It for example, like when Lee plays that, when they used to play that song live, Lee can't play it exactly the same because he doesn't have a whammy bar. So it won't do that. If he bends the string, it's not going to have the same effect. So, but there's a lot of cool stuff in, especially like Pleasures of the Flesh has a lot of cool guitar stuff on it. I remember one tour I did with them where we wanted to add something different into the set because we had been playing the same set of songs for a while. And I said, let's play Parasite from Pleasures of the Flesh. And the guys were like, none of us know how to play that. And Gary was out with Slayer. So I sat and I figured it out. And then I made videos and sent it to Lee so he could, we could do all the like harmony runs and stuff in it. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more. I need I need more time in the day.
there's not enough hours in the day. I feel you. That's
Yeah.
every day. Yeah, man. So like, what gear are you running now with Heathen?
So for the last few years, we basically, it's still a Mesa Boogie. The sound of that band has always been a Mesa Boogie Mark Series amp. I have a Mesa Mark IV that is, I don't know, every once in a while with the tube amps, you'd get one that was just special and it sounded a little bit better than all the other ones. I have one like that. It's a Mark IV. And what I did is I recorded it. I mic'd up the amp and I sent a raw wave file of just the mic'd up amp to a guy in Australia, and he made a Kemper profile for me. And when I remember the first time I played the Kemper profile, I was like, holy shit, it sounds exactly the same. And of course, it's subtle differences. You can't make it exactly the same, but it's super close. And so what we do, we take our Kempers and we use tube power amps and get the tube power for the warmth and use cabinets on stage and everything. It's a way for me to be able to take that Mark IV sound with me everywhere without taking the 20-something-year-old amp out everywhere. So actually, here I can show you. I'll take you with me if you can see this rig here. It's a rack. I've got basically two Line 6 wireless units, two Kempers, and then two Mesa 290 power amps. So these 290 power amps, it's the power section of the Mark Series amps is what it is. So what I have is the Kempers have the profile of the Mark Series amp, and then I've got the tube power. So this sounds literally almost exactly like the Mark IV. So that's what I've been using recently. Of course, they don't always have the power amps like a Mesa power amp, but even just a Marshall like JCM 900 or 2000 or whatever, as long as we have tube power, that's what gives it the balls and that warmth. So I have a Marshall 9200 also. That thing sounds killer, but it's fucking heavy as hell. And I can get the 290s. They're it has the Mesa sound, but also they're 2 rack spaces each instead of the Marshall, which is like 3 rack spaces. So essentially, I have 2 rigs in that rack. It's 2 rigs for 2 guitar players, and you can use just one side of the power amp, and then you have the other one as a backup in case something happens with tubes or whatever. So that's what we've been using. That's the tone. Like Empire of the Blind, I recorded with the Kemper, and the Kemper, same thing with the live album. The direct signal goes out to the front of house, and then we get a monitor out without the cabinet simulator, and it goes into the effects loop of a head or into a power amp and then to a speaker cabinet. So we have just old school on stage, old school sound, no in-ear monitors. Dave, our singer, uses a set of in-ears, but the rest of us don't.
I respect that. You're like,
Yeah.
you're taking a risk, like damaging your hearing doing that too, because it's so loud.
I wear earplugs. I mean, the only thing I would really change, like going forward, I'd love it if the drummer was playing to a click, so that the tempo was consistent. Like, and all I mean by that is, like, everyone, you know how it is when you're on the road. Sometimes you're tired and you're dragging a little bit, and sometimes you slept well or whatever, and you're rushing and playing too fast. And for the Heathen stuff, some of the riffs are the right hand stuff is super complex, and I want to be able to nail it. But if you play it just a little bit too fast, then you can't nail it.
Yeah, I get you.
So that's the only thing I would change. I would love it if at some point, the drummer was playing to a click, and I don't mean click for all of us. I don't mean tracks or anything like that, but just so we had consistent, tempo and stuff like that. Otherwise, we're just old school. We just play up on stage with the monitors, and that's it.
Well, it sounds good. I know that because like a few days before this, I decided to rewatch some like live videos from like the recent tours and that guitar tone stuck out again. I love that tone.
Cool.
Just sounds
Thanks.
so good. I even tried tone matching it at one point. No success. No success whatsoever.
Well,
So
so there's a trick, and it's actually a trick that Gary used on Exhibit A and B. So, a lot of people use like a pedal in front of the head to it's essentially to do like a mid boost, right? So whether it's a tube screamer or like Gary had that pedal, the Protone or whatever pedal.
Protone mid boost, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, that's what putting any kind of like distortion pedal in front of the amp. That's the purpose of it. It's not to get more distortion necessarily, maybe a tiny bit, but it's more to push the mids, right? So on Exhibit A and B, what Gary was doing is, instead of using a pedal in front, he was using a parametric EQ.
Yeah, the
And
PreSonus one, if I
yeah,
remember correctly.
it looks like that. This is actually my Mesa rig. I have it in my recording desk now. But these are the EQ3B is what was being used, and it's just a parametric EQ. It does the same thing, except that you can go in and do a sweep of exactly what frequencies you want, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he was using on Exhibit A and B. And I remember we played in Japan. We did a show where it was, oh God, what was it? I think it was Testament, Creator, Exodus, and Heathen. And he had one of these, and I used his rig, and I was like, holy shit, like, it sounds awesome. So I got it. I got one, and that's what I use in front of my Mark IV. So that tone that you're trying to match, that's what it is. There's an EQ. It's basically the guitar's going into the EQ, and then the EQ going into the head. So it's serving the same purpose as like having a pedal in front of the head. You're just able to fine tune, and it's EQing the signal from the guitar. So it's altering the tone coming from the guitar before it hits the amp, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I do like something similar with my like personal profiles on my Kemper. Like usually I'll run the EQ in front instead of, through the loop.
Yeah.
I think it just sounds better.
I mean, you're mimicking what people would do with an amp head anyway. They would plug into the pedal would go into the head, and then the head into the cabinet. And so yeah, that's how I would totally do the same thing. Put it in front.
Yeah, man, it sounds great. Also, another thing that I noticed too, maybe like past year or two so now, you've been using Jackson guitars.
Yeah, so I had a deal with ESP for a long time, and it was great. But I've always been a Jackson guy. There was a period of time in the 2000s where I had a deal with them, and one of my custom shop guitars was in their catalog and stuff like that. And then they were essentially like Jackson was sold a couple of different times. They were sold to a company called Akai, which is they made like samplers back in the 2000s, and then it was sold to Fender. And somewhere in that period of time, I lost my endorsement. You know, Fender when Fender bought it, they basically cut down, and it was like only like really top tier, like in terms of people knowing who they were, players. So I got offered a deal with ESP, and I was with them for a really long time, and then I basically it was like they wanted me they wanted to change my deal, so I was paying like more for the ESPs, and at one point I was getting them for free, and I was kind of like, if I'm gonna pay for guitars, I'll play I'm gonna play what I really want.
Yeah.
So I ended up recently actually just getting a deal with Jackson, and you know, a lot of the guitars that I get that I have been playing, like the Warrior that I play all the time, I bought that. I mean, I didn't get it for free, or you know, or even get it as part of my deal. It's a custom shop that I just bought. But I do have the last gig we played in Mexico, I took my American Series Jackson Soloist with me to play, and it's fucking killer. It's really, really cool guitar. So I'm actually really stoked to be back playing Jacksons, and I mean that's kind of always where my heart was. I do use this. You can see maybe over here. There's the black V2 here.
Yeah,
The
those things are sick.
ESP. I actually just put all new hardware on that because it was beat to shit from touring with Exodus. But I use that to record rhythm guitar stuff. It's a fixed bridge. There's no Floyd or anything. And for doing rhythm stuff, like I don't know, it's a mahogany body, and it sounds really good, and it's easier to sit with a V when I record myself, because I record all the guitar tracks for the Heathen stuff here at home. So it's just easier for me to use that when I record. It sounds good. It's, you know, like I said, there's no whammy bar that I need to worry about, or crazy tuning stuff. If I do a bend and it just dips just a tiny bit, or you know how
Yeah.
it is.
It's actually funny you mentioned that because I'm sitting with one right now. I
Now,
got
so that is that one of the Gary Holt guitars?
yeah, I caved.
So check this out. This one. So in the summer of 2022, I was supposed to fill in for Lee on that tour in Europe, where they had what's his name do it. Anyway, we were on tour with them. Heathen was on tour with them, and I actually got this guitar. It's a Jackson, to play on that tour.
That's
and
awesome.
and I did, but it was unfortunately, you know, I wasn't playing it with Exodus, but yeah, it's I love black and red, so
So do
we'll
I.
see.
It's kind of a crutch. I have a few black and red ones, and every time I see another black and red one, I'm like, ooh, do I need to buy it?
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with Explorers as of late, like really bad.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to find a one of the old pre-lawsuit ESP Explorers, like one of the LTD ones. I can't afford no MX250. Those things are crazy expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there's a couple right now that are up, but like the condition, like I'm not gonna be too picky because of the age in that, but like some of them leave much to be desired. So I'm like playing the waiting game. I know they did like a few in different colors, like midnight purple, gunmetal blue.
Right.
If I could get my hands on a gunmetal blue one, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, with a guitar like that, you probably are just expecting to have to replace hardware on it or whatever.
yeah, that's easy for me now. That's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting on hardware for this one. I'm waiting on the stainless steel upgrades, pushing arm. Really got to have that pushing arm.
Right. You
I
like the
don't.
push in arm?
Yeah, do you use those?
I have one on my American Series Soloist because it's the what is it, the 1500 Floyd Rose. It's
Yeah,
basically the Floyd Rose 1000 with the stainless steel parts on it.
yeah. I actually have a couple of those here because I also like Schecter guitars a lot.
Uh huh.
They were like my first love, but like this one has the 1500 on it
Yep. Yep.
with the pushing arm, stainless steel screws. I added the noiseless springs. That's also a
Yeah.
must. On these ones, though, weirdly enough, I never did the brass block. I
Uh
just
huh.
felt like it never needed it actually. But on the Holt ones, I have one sitting here for the V. But on the Holt ones, all of them have the brass block, stainless steel upgrades. Here, I'll just put this here for now. My rack is like packed. But
Yeah.
just having those upgrades for me is kind of essential. Like I'll usually order those like right when I get the guitar. Like I ordered that V. I ordered them like the same day, and
Yeah.
it's been like 2 months now and still haven't got them. So I'm just waiting.
Did you order from Floyd Rose?
I ordered from Sweetwater because that's where I bought the
Oh, okay.
guitar. So
Yeah, because I know Floyd Rose is waiting still for stuff. Like I have a Floyd Rose original in black on order with them, and it still hasn't come in yet. So
yeah, it's rough waiting, especially like with like how expensive guitars can be now, and you want to get this stuff in there.
yeah,
It's kind of hard.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like have you ever looked into like the quad cortex at all?
uh, Lee tells me about it all the time and how great it is. He was telling me something about how a lot of like I guess younger bands are using like the feature where you can have the MIDI programming do all the foot switching and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but the Kemper, you can do the same thing with the Kemper. I mean, I see the benefit of having it be small. But I don't know. I'm one of those guys where when I find something that I like, I usually stick with it for an extremely long period of time because the more you work with something, the more you can understand it and the better you can work with it. And like, I just can't keep up with changing, like every time a new quad cortex comes out. I mean, at some point there's going to be a tiny one that's the size of your phone,
There
or
already
whatever.
is. That's the thing. There
Yeah.
already is.
So I mean, at some point it's like, I just can't keep up financially with switching to some new technology and device all the time. The Exodus guys do that all the time, and it would drive me nuts. We would get settled and get going with something, and like, and then they'd be like, oh no, there's this new thing, we got to get this, and I was like I over here I have a PV triple X from one of the tour cycles, and in this closet I have an Savage 120 and Engel, like all the rigs that they used. Like I was keeping up for a while because I wanted to make sure that I was on top of things. But once we switched to the Kemper, I'm like, I think we're good. Like,
Yeah, that's like I love my Kemper to death, but I went on this tour with Slackjaw, and they're Dallas and Brady are both running the quad cortex, and getting to hear it in person and see how it works, it's like it's something I'm looking into. It's just
yeah,
like
I
I,
totally get
I'm not in a
it.
rush right now because they're not cheap. They're very expensive, and that's a big decision, especially when I was talking to Steve Brogdon about it because Gary's using it now live.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And he said you could get your Kemper profiles on there no problem. I said, okay, that's good news because there's like profiles I actually went out of my way and paid for, and I don't want to lose those.
I don't know. I'm not sure you can import them. I'd have to look into that.
You have to capture them. So
Yeah.
I'm still looking into it. From my understanding, I could just get a DI box. I don't have to go and buy like 10 different mics. Thank God, because that's a noisy process too.
Yeah.
But I could get like a DI box and do it that way. So like my plan right now is to get that like next year maybe and do that. Then like you can now capture pedals through it, which is kind of nice because there's like some pedals I have that I'm not comfortable taking out of the boxes all the time.
Yeah, sure.
So like the paranormal, I have the Mad Monarch. I have a couple other special pedals that I like that I don't want to take out of the box. Like I have this one from Gary himself. Like I've never plugged it in because I don't want to
Yeah.
mess with the settings and like if I get the Cortex out, I'll just capture it and that way I can use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's so many great tools out there and so much technology. For me, it's just like I said, it's just a matter of like keeping up with all of it. Because I also, since I'm recording, I'm also like trying to keep up with plugins and stuff like that sometimes. And at some point, it's like, it's too much, man.
Yeah, I get you. There's
I'm gonna
this.
stick with something and just go with it, and so yeah, I see the benefit though. I mean, Lee sent me a couple of demos from songs that he wrote for the new record, and he was using his like a Mesa Mark IIc Plus tone that's by the same company that makes the Quad Cortex, and it sounded great. So
That's like there's also plugins that are compatible with the Quad Cortex, so you could just use the plugins on there too, which I think is really cool.
yeah,
It gives you more options, which is nice. That's what like I do the tone matching in that. And I said if I get the Quad Cortex, I'm going to redo everything and see what results I get. I think it'd be
yeah.
really interesting to go back and do all those, especially now that I'm probably a little better at it than I was in the beginning. So
I'd
like,
be interested to see if there was a way that you could do. So there's a trick on the Kemper, where you can, and this is how Andy Sneap made the profile that the band used, the Kemper profile of Tempo the Damn Tone that we used forever. Like we used that live, and then they actually recorded Blood In, Blood Out with the same Kemper profile. Uh, you can feed a wave file recording of the tone instead of playing, like how you have to play and it
oh yeah,
captures.
yeah, kind of like
There's a trick that you can do with the Kemper where you can just put a wave file of any tone and just play anything, so that the machine thinks you're playing the sound, and it can capture the tone from a recording rather than from you playing it. That would be really interesting to me because there's so many like isolated tracks up online of different guitar tones. Like, can you capture something exactly from a Pantera record or something? You know what I mean? Instead of
yeah,
trying to match it, can you get the real tone and do it? So
yeah. That's actually funny you mentioned that. There's so like IRs, I got into those a little bit last year, and like I got a couple, and there is a way to like the Kemper is actually pretty particular about like certain frequencies or something with it. Not exactly sure. It's been a while since I tried it, but like I have some like and Justice for All IR, and it sounds pretty good.
yeah.
So I started messing with those, and you take like a little WAV file and throw it into the software, and it'll make a cabinet module for the Kemper.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. It's like I was surprised at how like accurate it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think with any technology, like I know with the Quad Cortex, you can use like two different impulse responses on it at the same time, and I have no doubt that like anything that one company comes up with, the other company is going to figure out how to do it and then put it in an update for their firmware, and then you're gonna get, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't think in this day and age there's anything that one company is doing that the other company isn't going to be able to do at some point or another. I'm sure there's going to be like there will be a Kemper that's the same size as the Quad Cortex, at some point too, and I don't know. Like I said, it's just too much to keep up with sometimes. I like expensive guitars, so
That's my problem. I need to stop buying them. I'll see one like, oh, I need that. Oh, I need that.
yeah.
It's like, do I really need it right now? Like, trying to find those like those they're called the EXP 200s. Then there's like the Edwards ones and the grassroots ones. There's so many different ones, and it's hard to keep track of all those and try to find one. Then like one particular model that I would absolutely kill for is the old Kerry King signature model from ESP. That thing just looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool guitars. There was a model that they made only in Europe, and it was called the SV. I've never seen one on Reverb for sale. I have one. I'll show it to you. It's what they based the Gary Holt model, the Rhodes style one.
Yeah, I love it. There was actually a couple of them I think listed on Reverb at one point.
Yeah, this is the one I played with Exodus.
Yeah, that
At
thing's
some,
sick.
and it's a Japan model. It's probably dusty because I haven't been playing it. I might sell it, so we can talk about that. But yeah, I mean it's a cool guitar. The only issue I ever had with it was the Floyd that came on it. I was having problems with it. So we were on tour. It was Exodus was touring with King Diamond at the time, and I was having problems with it, and so I talked to Willie G, who is Andy LaRocque's tech, and he brought Andy over, and I was like, yeah, I'm having trouble with this, and Andy's like, oh, here, I have an extra Floyd Rose, and so Willie put an extra Andy LaRocque Floyd Rose on this guitar, so it doesn't like it. The tuning pegs and the nut are like a little bit different color because the silver or nickel or whatever you want to call it, like how ESP had somewhere it was that, like, I don't know what you call it, it was like it had a little black in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But otherwise, I mean, the guitar is original. It's got an EMG 81 in it. It's a great guitar. I just don't play it. So
Yeah, well,
I have a couple of those unique ones, where I was like, how it is when you have guitars, you're like, I don't play this one, but I really want that one.
I know, I was doing that last night. It's like
Yeah.
some of them are like sentimental pieces you can't let go of.
I have one. I have a Jackson like that. I have a Jackson that was owned by Robin Crosby from Rat.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
I will never get rid of it. I don't play it live. I wouldn't take it anywhere, but I would never get rid of it.
It's funny. Talk about like getting rid of sentimental pieces, and there's one I sold it for my apprenticeship for the tech stuff. This one,
Uh-huh.
and a friend of mine, he's like, "Oh, have you listened to Avenged Sevenfold lately?" I'm like, "No, I haven't for a long time." And you start listening, and you're like, "Oh, I'm kind of missing that guitar."
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder how hard it'd be to get it back. And I got it back. I kept in contact with the guy that bought it, and he might actually be the one in line to get my Kemper if I do switch. But yeah, like we talked for a few months, and I eventually got it back.
That's
And
cool.
I will never make that mistake again. That thing's here to stay.
Yeah, I've got one guitar that I got rid of that I have sentimental value for, and I wish I could get it back. And I got in touch with the guy, and I just haven't worked something out with him, like, to get it back. It's just a parts guitar that I
No, I
had
get
made
you.
when I played some of my first shows with it and stuff. So, but yeah, those it's always a bummer, when there's, at least when I was younger, it was you always needed something to get your band to go to the next level, or a different guitar, whatever it was, like something, and you had to give something up because you just didn't have enough money to buy everything.
Yeah,
So
it's funny you mentioned that. I had one that I sold two for my Kemper to
yeah,
move this page up, and one of those was a little bit of a sentimental piece. And I didn't get the exact one back. I bought another one, and I probably paid a little too much for it, but I ended up getting it custom painted. It's really cool how it turned out. So this is not like a regular production model they did.
Oh,
It,
that's
it's
cool.
it started out as one. It was like a gray instead of a green,
Yeah.
but like it was beat up, and I took it to a guy about maybe like hour away from me, and he's like, "You're just gonna need to get this thing refinished." So he gave me a couple names, and like some like they were really pricey, like way too much. And I found this
Yeah.
guy called Sim's Custom Shop. I'd known about him for a little bit, and he's the one that ended up doing it, and he knocked it out of the park.
That's
So,
cool.
so he just refinished it. I installed all the pickups, hardware, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got a guitar that I need to get the Floyd Rose redone completely. So I have a I'll bring it over and show you. So this was a uh, in the 2000s. It was a Jackson custom shop. It was in, I don't know, the 2003 catalog, I think. The crop circle inlays, I had them add more and make. They had a model that was called the Roswell Rhodes, and the inlays only went up to the 12th fret. But I wanted it to go up higher, so I had them create more to put up there. Um, at the time, this is a 7 string, and at the time there was no Floyd Rose 7. So there was a company called Takeuchi that made a bridge, and it was made out of like really low quality metal, and it was just a piece of shit. And I had a buddy who worked for Ibanez at the time when I lived in Los Angeles. He was working in their custom shop, and he put a what's basically like an Edge Pro on here, and it's fine, but I want a Floyd original on it, and I'm sure that the posts have to be, filled and re-drilled because they're
Yeah,
not exactly the same spacing and stuff. But the guitar itself, it's amazing. It's a custom shop soloist 7. Um, I think it's the one that they patterned for a while. The Christian from Fear Factory, when he was playing guitar for them, he had a custom model, and it was this guitar with the one humbucker and everything. It just didn't have the crop circles, but
yeah, that
yeah,
thing
there's
looks sick.
always something to redo on the guitar.
All the time, yeah. Um, it's like my black and red one. Like at some point, that Floyd's gonna be swapped out. I was looking at like the Goto 1996 T. I heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, because that one's probably the oldest out of the. Yeah, no, that one is definitely the oldest out of the Floyd collection. Now, like I have a JH600 that good luck getting it. That's gonna have to be pried from my cold dead hands because that thing is just it's perfect. That one has a Kaler, and when I had gotten it, like the Kaler wasn't maintained at all. It was in
yeah,
rough shape, so I had to buy like some new saddles for it. I bought the steel rollers and that. So I let things like up to par. It plays really well. I need to pick it up more.
yeah.
It's one of the ones with the eagle inlays too. So
Oh, cool,
yeah, everybody and
awesome.
their mother wants it.
Yeah, I bet.
Actually, a friend of mine had gotten one with a Floyd like a week before. He's like, "Man, I wish I got it with the Kaler." I said, "I think they only did them for about a year with the eagle inlays and the Kaler." And
Yeah,
a week later, my buddy sends me the listing. It wasn't up for 25 minutes. I bought it.
yeah.
It's like that's
That's
mine.
cool.
I was looking way too long. That's mine.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I can't go on reverb too much. There's always something that I feel like I need. I'm a one humbucker, one knob guitar guy. So anytime I see anything like that, I'm like, especially if it's a pointy Jackson. Um, I'm in. But
I get you. I get you. That's like I always have two humbuckers, but do I ever use the neck pickup? Very rarely.
yeah,
It's nice on cleans.
it
So,
is. Yes. Yeah.
but like, cause like sometimes the bridge pickup will be too thin for the cleans. Like, I was up at like 3 in the morning last night just messing around with like clean stuff, and I came up with this one thing. Never would have came up with it without like that neck pickup being so warm.
Sure. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really added to it. Like, wow, I got to remember this. So I'm like drilling it into my head right now, and like, yeah, I got to remember that. It's really good.
Yeah. Anything that's like finger picked clean, the neck pickup always sounds better. Yeah.
Yeah, they're handy too, especially like with like I picked up a trick a few years ago. Like when it comes to tuning, to always tune with the neck pickup if you have one. I mean, you can still use the bridge pickup, but the neck pickup is just a little more accurate.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it's you don't want all that brightness from the bridge actually. Now,
Huh.
like I told Brady about that, and like I always thought too, it was always better to tune from the bridge pickup. That would make sense, but it was actually the neck pickup the entire time.
Interesting. I'll have to try that. Thanks for the tip.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just you got a crazy collection though. So we're definitely gonna have to talk about that SV. Like I need another one. So
Yeah.
especially
It's a cool guitar. I mean, like I said, if I was if I was super like focused on ESP still, I would absolutely. I love the Randy Rhoads shape. Um, for me, I would rather have a Randy Rhoads, an actual one. Like I don't have one. I have a cheapy one, but not a made in the USA one.
yeah.
So
It's like I still
uh,
have yet to buy my first Japanese ESP too. So
yeah, and I mean there is a major difference in quality between the ESP, standard. I don't know what whenever they switched over to calling it E2, like they just lost me. They were trying to explain it one time, and I'm like, that's just
yeah,
wrong.
I get
Just
you.
call it ESP. Call it Made in Japan ESP. That's what it is. So
Yeah,
why are you calling it E2? It doesn't make any
yeah.
sense.
That's something I really agree with you on. Because even when I'm like looking at those, I'm trying to find where it says ESP on the headstock. Because the E2, it's like what?
Yeah, like I mean, like this one. You can see it right there. It's made in Japan. It is what it is. I just don't understand I don't understand the E2 thing. They could explain it 10 times, and I'd be like, I know, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I never had the explanation. So because buddy of mine got, I'm like, why do they call them E2s? And he's like, I don't know.
It was something to do with differentiating it between the Japanese production models that are made like that are not custom shop
Okay.
and not sold in Japan. Like it was just some weird thing. So I'm pretty sure that ESP in the United States is owned by the same company that owns Schecter.
Yes, that's true.
So and like when I used to live in Burbank, California, and I would drive just not even 10 minutes to ESP in North Hollywood and go there. So they had the ESP USA shop, and then they had the ESP office and warehouse across. It's in the same business park, and then Engel was there also. I guess they have some kind of partnership with them. Um, but I think it had something to do with the fact that they wanted to make the ESP USA guitars, and those have the ESP logo on them, but it says
Oh,
USA.
okay, I get you.
And so something weird. It still doesn't make any sense. It's just like just call it ESP USA or ESP, and then on the back it says Made in Japan. What's the It's like
Yeah.
when Jackson's guitars, like if they don't even make Made in the USA guitars, the one that say Made in the USA, except custom shop now. All the other ones, even the American series, it says Made in America or Made in the USA on the back, Made in Corona, California, but it's not the same as the Made in the USA. So like, it's a small detail, but at least it still says Jackson and it doesn't say, J2 or something dumb on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I never understood that. So like when I was like looking at like the M2s, because I love super strats and Vs. Those are like my two weaknesses. Now the Explorer is my weakness.
I'm right there with you. I got an M2 in my collection. I used it with Exodus for a long time.
Yeah,
That
like
one I wouldn't get rid of.
I get you.
I would keep.
I understand you on that because the JH600 is based off the M2 and it's just so comfortable, and the
Yeah,
neck profile is so thin. It's so nice.
yeah.
But like I would look at the ESP standard series, like the older ones with ESP on the headstock, because like the E2 just I don't know, it doesn't hit the same, you know?
It doesn't. I mean, it's the same thing for me. It's like with any guitar. I don't know. I guess I tell people I'm too old to play shitty guitars. So like anything that's not like at a certain quality level, like I just can't. I can't do it. Like
I get you.
some of the LTDs are super good quality, and other ones like the lower line ones just aren't. And it was the same with any guitar company. It's a manufacturing standards thing. Um, all of the guitar companies that we're familiar with pretty much use the same manufacturing plant in Indonesia or Korea.
Yeah.
So the guitar quality that you get from any of those guitars is relatively the same. You know what I mean? Because they're all being manufactured in the same place. They might have slightly different specs, for whatever companies use, but they're all being made in the same plant. And when you get one of these ESP Japanese made guitars or a Jackson made in the USA, the quality difference is substantial. Like it's hard to put into words until you play it. And it could be just little things like neck width. I have a Jackson that was made in Indonesia. It's a Randy Rhoads shaped guitar, and the neck is like just a little bit too thin, and the strings are too close to the edge. You know what I mean? Just little
Yeah.
kind of details that you wouldn't think of normally, but it's like that totally affects how I play. The quality of the wood that's used. When you get a high end guitar, the wood that they use for the body, and even just the wood that they use for the fretboard, it's just a different level of quality. So I don't know. I'm kind of into the super high quality stuff and having less of it, I guess, if necessary.
Yeah, I get you. That's like this V here wasn't actually the first one I got. First one
Yeah,
I got, I actually did buy it B stock. It was just like a little finish thing. I was like, who cares?
right.
No one's gonna really see it. I don't care. But I was doing some work on it, getting ready to restring it, and I noticed that the Floyd post was sliding in and out really easily.
I
And
saw
they,
that on
yeah,
your, yeah.
yeah. I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And it's like I just paid this. I'm still paying it off. I decided not to just. Usually I just pay it off right away, but I decided let's leave that touring money alone.
Yeah.
But I like that wasn't like listed in the thing, so I'm not gonna settle for that. That's not cool. But they made it right. I got a brand new one. That thing actually I think it's better. It's heavier.
Yeah.
So the heavier the better in my opinion. But like especially like how much, imports are costing today too. It's like
Oh,
is
dude,
that
it's insane.
is that like bar of quality getting raised to match that?
Yeah.
That's the big question. I mean, like stainless steel frets, that's nice and all, but like, so last year when Schecter released the Sinister Gates Relic, I compared the two. The Relic beat it like with the specs, like with the hardware in that, and that's not like any fault on anybody, but it's just like you had to look at it realistically. Like the Relic had more features that I wanted, like the stainless steel screws, the push and arm. The only thing I had to buy for it was the pushing, not the pushing, the noiseless springs. That was it. Then like
Yeah.
it had pickups I liked. Like I like the Sustainiac. It's fun to mess with that. Then the Schecter in-house pickups that they do, like the signature ones, are actually really good. They're
Yeah.
pricey, but they're actually really good. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't think the quality matches the cost on some of those guitars. I mean, you're looking at, I mean, just for a good quality import guitar, you're looking at probably 2 grand, right?
yeah,
And at the minimum. And I don't know, dude. I just it seems like it seems like too much to me. So like the Jackson American Series guitar is a good compromise as far as I'm concerned. So it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. Like I have a USA soloist and then I have the American Series soloist. And if you look at them comparatively, yeah, it has the stainless steel frets, it has the stainless steel parts on the Floyd, but it's not a Floyd original, and um, all that means is the quality of the metal that it's made out of. It's not going to last as long if you abuse it. You know, like
yeah,
doing a lot of whammy stuff. It's not going to last as long as hardened steel or whatever that they use for the real Floyd Rose originals. Um, the 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 neck binding that's on the USA. There's a white binding that goes all the way around Ivoroid or whatever it is. Uh, they don't have that on the American series. Instead, they have lumen dots, which is cool. You know, it's like every one of them has a trade off for something. The quality of the ebony fretboard, it's not quite as good. You know, it's not as black. It's like more. It almost looks a little bit more like rosewood. Um, but playing it feels exactly like like the USA soloist. Like
yeah,
if I closed my eyes and played it, I can't tell the difference. Like and it sounds the same. To me, if it plays well and it sounds good, I'd rather have a compromise like that where there's a couple of details that aren't as high quality or whatever, but then there's something else that they put in place of it. You know,
yeah,
it's not like they're taking something away from it. Um, you know, if you get one of the import Indonesian or Korean guitars, sometimes like I find the body wood doesn't sound good. It's it's some type of like substitute wood for whatever they're trying to go for, um, and it just doesn't have the same sound. I can put the same pickups in it and the same strings and everything be exactly the same, and it just doesn't sound the same. You know, so uh, when they're cutting costs by going with cheaper quality stuff, it is ultimately going to affect the playability and the sound and everything else about it. You know what I mean? And so spending that much money for a lower end guitar, like to me, I can't. I couldn't justify it. I'd rather save up the extra $500 that it costs to get the American Series soloist that I have, because I know it's going to sound good and it's going to play well, and I know what wood it's. You know, they can tell me what wood it's made out of, but when I hear it, you know, on some of the import guitars, it's not. It's some kind of, you know, they can say it's that because it's in the family of whatever that wood is. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I don't know. To me, it's like if it isn't alder or it isn't uh, mahogany, there's only one wood, guitar body wood, that I've heard that sounds good. That's not one of those, and it isn't used by most companies. It's poplar, which Jackson used to use like in the old days, in this when they had their factory in San Dimas in the very beginning. They would use poplar because it was an alternative to alder, but it still sounded good. So, like the King B that I have that was owned by Robin Crosby from Rat is made out of poplar, um, and it sounds good. It has a little bit of a darker sound, but it's got the same quality. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, basswood or any of those cheapo lightweight woods. Like they always sound bad to me. They just
I get
I
you.
can't get the tone out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like own mostly all signature models. Really, I own all signature models because
Yeah.
there's a lot of specs I like, and I'm a sucker for signature models that aren't signature models. Basically,
Right.
Gary.
Yeah.
I love black and red. That's right up my alley.
Yeah.
But like, buying these imports, like my number one is a import LTD. It's the white and red GH600 I have. Sounds good. The board's pitch black. Like I had the black and red one, the opposite of that one. That one like is more susceptible to the like weather changes.
Yeah.
The board's like pretty light. Just certain things about that one, like that white one, for some reason, it's just really high quality, and very impressed with it to this day. Like never really had. I only had like a couple major issues. It's actually an issue that I keep running into with ESP is the Floyd post. Um, Either they're not drilled in enough, too deep, or loose. So I took that.
Interesting.
I took both of those to a local luthier that he's maybe about like 40 minutes away. I'd say local. That's local to us here.
Right. Right.
but uh, but he did both of them for me, and they just they resonate right. Everything's good now. Love those guitars. I mean, I've always played imports. Like I have played like a Japanese Fernandez before, and that thing sounded really good. Played really well. But yeah, like getting that first like proper Japanese one in my hands at some point is a goal.
I think you're smart to go for the guitars that are sort of more signature series. And the reason why I say that is because if an artist is involved with the design or creation in some way of this instrument, it's more likely that the quality of what they want is going to be present in the guitar.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Whereas if you just get a standard, import version of whatever guitar, it might not be at that level of quality because they're not trying to match anything. They're just trying to make another guitar model to sell. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So and don't get me wrong, I'm not ragging on the import guitars. I've played plenty that are great. I've also played some where it's just not good, and I think that's the problem I have with it is just the consistency of the quality isn't there. So when I was with ESP, I had a couple of different V2s, and one of them was an LTD, and it was red. It was like a dark maroon red, and it it was super light compared to all the other guitars. They said it was the same body wood, and I'm like, there is no way. Like this thing is like a toy compared and to how heavy, and it didn't sound good. It played similarly, like it felt good, but it just didn't sound good. So they, for that particular guitar, they used a substitute wood, for sure, because you can tell the difference when you play
yeah,
something and then again, sometimes you get a guitar that's a super high end instrument that's extremely expensive and it also doesn't sound good. I had so I I lived in LA area when I was a kid, like teenager, and we had an area that was known as Guitar Row back there. So there was Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard, and across the street there was a store called Guitars R Us, and then there was another guitar shop, and then there was Carvin, and then there was Mesa Boogie on the corner, and then around the corner there were two other guitar stores, right? Norm's Rare Guitars was one of them, and so like literally like within a 1 block radius, you could go into like 8 different guitar stores, right? So I went into Guitar Center one day, and this is back when Guitar Center used to have really good guitars, and now they don't. They like if you go to any Guitar Center, it's all just the cheap stuff because they don't want to carry anything that's $4,000, $5,000.
yeah,
So because it'll just sit there. They sell that stuff on the websites instead. But I went in there and I saw this guitar and I'm like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. And it was for Jackson used to make a model, and it's extremely rare. It was called the Demon, the shape of it. and it was a super strat kind of guitar, but the shape of the body was a little bit more streamlined than a regular strat body, and the lower horn was longer than the top horn, so it was the opposite kind of thing. And this guitar, it was all natural finish. It was a custom shop. It was made out of koa. It had one humbucker and a Floyd, and like I was in, you know, like that was like, yeah, I saw it and I'm like, that thing looks amazing. And I played it and it played great, and I took it home and it sounded like shit. And no matter what I did to it, I changed the pickup, I changed the electronics. I took it to there was a place in Venice called Carruthers Guitars, which was like in LA was the place where you would take your guitars to get them modded and stuff. And they were like, yeah, this is just what the wood sounds like. And I was like, oh man, I mean, it, like looks wise and playing wise, this thing was amazing, but it just sounded bad. And so I sold it, you know. It's like, I can't use this, you know, like it would look great in a music video or something, but like I don't make music videos, so you know, back then we weren't on Instagram or whatever, and it just didn't sound good. So I was like, I mean, I wish I could find that guitar again, but one that sounded good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and even that would probably now would probably go for like $5 plus, you know, $7,000 or whatever on Reverb. And I'm sure it looks, you know, it would look amazing, but it just, sometimes you get a guitar and it just, no matter how expensive it is, it just isn't good, you know?
Yeah. I actually had that with a Jackson some years ago. I bought the McThompson signature because once again, signature models that aren't signature models, sucker for those. And I love the white with the black binding. I just thought it looked so sleek. Bought it. I mean, it was like $800 maybe I paid for it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty fair. Got it. You know, and you're sitting there trying to justify it. I'm like, this thing don't sound great. You know, just I talked to my guitar teacher one time. He said this thing's an anomaly. It's buzzing in spots where it shouldn't, and it's not buzzing in spots where it should.
Yeah.
He's like, this thing's just weird.
Right.
So I eventually traded it for that black and red GH600, which is still an upgrade by those standards. But like I said, that one's more susceptible to the weather, and that I noticed that when I have to set up a lot. But like my GH600, it could go from, you know, summer to winter in a split second. That thing will not budge. It stays consistent. I love that thing. And like
I have two Jackson Warriors. I have the white one with the black binding that I usually play, and then I have a silver one with black binding that looks just like it, except it has two humbuckers instead of one. Both made in the USA. They have different neck shapes. The silver one, if it changes weather, the neck is going to do something.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
I remember getting it out and playing it one night because like I didn't have time to change strings, you know, but the strings were fresh on the silver one. I grabbed it. I'm like, I'm just going to play this one tonight. And it was like buzzing, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like it was just fine, you know? So
yeah.
This one, any wooden instrument, you're gonna have that happen.
Yeah, this one, like I said, very susceptible to it. I mean, it plays well. I need to change the strings on it really bad, but like the neck is super thin on this one, which is something I usually prefer. But I mean, it plays good, sounds good when, you know, there's fresh strings on it and the strings aren't 2 months old.
Yeah.
But like my white and red one, I'll grab that one here. That one's sitting right here. This one, like I'll take this take this to the grave with me. Like this one, like I might have to do a setup on it every now and then. Like nothing crazy though. Usually the neck stays where it's at. Doesn't give me any problems.
Yeah. Yeah, any wooden instrument, you just never know what you get. You
know?
And it's crazy in this day and age, you know, you can't just go down and play the guitar.
Nope.
You're going to buy it off of Sweetwater or Musician's Friend and hope for the best, and, you know, or Reverb or wherever, and hope that you can that you get a good one. I mean, some of the best guitars I ever got were ones where I got to go to Guitar Center and play it, or just pick it up and I so this we don't want to drop that one. Hold on a second. This one I bought on Guitar Row, and this is the one that was owned by Robin Crosby, a Rat. If you look at the Jackson logo, it's actually a mirror image. You have to hold it up to a mirror to read it. But this one, I walked into the store and I picked it up and I played it, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I asked how much it was. Dude told me $800, and this is in like 1990 maybe, and I was like, I left, and I'm like, I gotta have that. But I had a rule back then, because I would just buy, I would spend every penny I had on instruments if I didn't have this rule, where I would leave the store and I would say, okay, if it's there the next time I come back in, then I'll get it. Then I was meant to have it. So, and that happened with this one, and I went back in and I saw it and I played it. And I said, how much is it again? And he said 900. And I said, no, last time I came in here, you said 800. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'll give it to you for 800. So, but I get, you get to go in and play it and feel it, and you know what I mean? And these days you just can't really do that.
Nope. It stinks. Like when I was ready to buy my SV here, my local shop was actually an ESP dealer for about a year, and we were talking about, like, yeah, just when the time's right. I got it as a present to myself for finally going on tour. I was like, I kind of
Yeah.
earned it. I kind of earned it. So I called him. I was like, hey, this is so and so. Like, are you still an ESP dealer by chance? And he said, sadly, not anymore. I'm like, bummer.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to buy it through him, because I like supporting local businesses too. But he wasn't an ESP dealer anymore, which like really stunk.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the mom and pop shops, and even Guitar Center, I mean, they're really just dealing in the cheap, inexpensive guitars for beginners, because that's what their clientele base is, especially like now the Guitar Center has lessons and stuff like that. They're trying to get people to come in and have lessons, and they're buying, the lower end guitars for the most part. So they just don't really stock high end stuff anymore. If you need cables and stuff like that, yeah. So
Yeah, that's
those,
like my local shop up there will sometimes get some like really good stuff in, like used. And that's like I bought a guitar there like 6 years ago maybe. It was an import, obviously. It was a Sinister Gates one. It was in black and gold. Looked cool at the time, and a couple years later, like, gold's
yeah,
a little much. But like they do carry like some high quality stuff sometimes. Like newer stuff. Like they didn't have any like the E2s or anything though when they were an ESP dealer. They had like the LTDs, couple signature models. Like they had the whole ones. Like, well, I already got those. So
yeah,
when you get the SV,
yeah.
because I love that shape, and like you would look online for the SV, and just you can't find them in the US usually, which
Yeah.
stinks. Because I mean, I'm be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Arrow. It looks like a can opener to me.
I had one that I used with Exodus, and I ended up selling it. There was that little hook part that you're talking about where it would bug me when I was playing a little bit. Um, the SB is a better shape for sure. I don't know why they don't sell it here. Maybe it's something with Jackson and the
It
and the
could
ribs.
be.
I don't
It
know.
Yeah. It probably is because that's like they were making that Explorer shape, like the MX250, and that you could order them from Japan up to like 2021, and they stopped making them completely. So now the prices of those just went up even more. Like you go on Reverb now, and like Diablo Guitars has them listed for like $18,000. It's like,
Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah, no, I can't do that. Sorry. Well,
Yeah.
there's one up listed right now, just some dude that has it. Like it's a natural one that's
Yeah.
like 7 grand. I'm like, okay, that's a little better.
Right. I'm
That
just plugging in here.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, yeah, it's just like trying to find one of those. But it's like I'm gonna have to settle for the LTD because just some of that stuff's like way out of my price range.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it gets the prices of guitars these days are insane. I mean, I remember getting a Jackson USA model soloist for $1,400. You know, that was like it was 95, so obviously a long time ago. 30 plus years ago. It's a 94, I think. But still, I mean, it's like prices have tripled.
Yeah, like even talk about my Gary Holt ones here. I got both of those for like 800 bucks a piece. Even the black one technically, but like the white and red one, I got that for 800 bucks, and it was
Yeah,
basically brand new. The guy just didn't have the space for it. Like, yeah, I'll take it. and
yeah,
and like a year later, they're like 1,300 bucks, and now they're like 14. I think they're really high now, and it's like really like that much, and it's like the same specs. I
yeah.
mean, I get like the economy's kind of in the tank right now, but still, it's like jeez. I'm glad I got mine when I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the costs of the materials are that much more than they would have been back then. I think it's just a different. I think that the market has changed, and these companies, instead of focused on making extremely high quality guitars, they're focused on making uh, the more affordable models, which but those are now at the prices of the high end
Yeah,
instruments, in the past. So it's a weird market for sure. I mean, the fact that I can't just get a Jackson USA guitar on the website is crazy to me.
yeah,
You basically have to custom order it and wait 2 years to get it.
yeah. Which
So
I mean, if that's like something you're like been saving up for a long time, sure. But like, if you just want to get one, that's kind of ridiculous.
yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
even the price of those, you might as well go to like some independent luthier and just get one built. You know,
sure, yeah,
because they like Brady's Warrior. He has it. Actually, the guy from Violent System, he's the one that built it. His name was
okay,
Brian. His name is Brian. Real nice dude. I picked his brain a little bit, and like that thing played nice. That now actually another one of our openers for that tour actually opened for you guys at one point. Their name's Razor Grave. I don't know if that's ringing a
okay,
bell. So
yeah.
yeah, because I told them that I kind of knew you, and like, oh really? We opened up for Heathen at one point. Like, oh wow, that's
Well,
awesome.
that's cool.
But yeah,
Awesome.
like get going and just getting one like custom built by a luthier at that point just kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like I'm interested in making sure that the instruments I have are all up to snuff now. Like I have like a Fender American guitar. It was a model that they made in the '90s called the Floyd Rose Classic. So it came with a Floyd Rose, and it's got a humbucker and two single coils. But I'm an EMG guy, and so I finally just ordered a pick guard set from EMG so that I can get it, installed there, and then the guitar will sound like I want it to sound. I mean, I've had it since the '90s, and it's you know I need one that I can use that's just like my teaching guitar that's in E standard and all of that. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah, just maintaining all the instruments. You know how it is when you have a lot of instruments, then suddenly the maintenance becomes like, oh fuck, man, it's like almost like I gotta once a month I gotta pick a guitar that needs maintenance, and
yeah,
work on it, kind of a thing.
yeah,
So
and it's usually the one you play the most too. So
yeah,
but like my thing is too, like if it's like components that are a little less quality, that's replaceable. If it's like the body and the neck, that's a problem.
sure,
Like
yeah,
the SV, everything seems really great on it. Like the body, the neck, they all feel great. The frets feel great. Just it's the little things like stainless steel hardware and that I'm waiting on. Um,
right,
thinking of putting I'm gonna have to custom order them now. They were on Reverb. It's a set of Seymour Duncan Black Winners in red for it. It's a
Hmm.
mouthful.
Yeah.
But I think I love that pickup. I had them in a LTD Warbird at one point, and just like the mid range is the focus, and that's what I like. Like I
That's
mean,
good.
I still like my active pickups, but I'm leaning towards the passive nowadays.
Huh. Yeah, I'm in an EMG 81 guy since forever. So I I I don't know. I just like the sound of them. A lot of people don't like how much clarity there is because it doesn't cover up any slop.
Yeah, I get
But
you.
I like that. I'd rather have it be clear and try and achieve, you know, through practice or whatever, just trying to achieve that perfect riff or solo or whatever with it. So
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I love the 81. It sounds great. The 85, the 89R, the neck pickups are
yeah,
nice too, but bridge pickup, it's always got to be an 81. Always.
yeah, yeah.
Just that's the thrash metal sound right there.
It is. Yeah, that's where the crunch comes from for
Yep.
me. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Is there like any other future plans you have coming up that you want to tell us about?
Really just working on the new record. I want to get that done. You know, everything's written. There's the title of the album, artwork's in progress. I mean, ultimately, that's my goal for the rest of the year is just to get that finished, get it, you know, get it to a point where maybe we can put out a single later in the year or something. Uh, but that's been really my whole focus. We've got some tour stuff that we've been talking about doing later in the year. But really, it's just the focus is just getting the new record done and then trying to get a really good tour, for next year.
Hopefully, I could catch
So
you guys soon too, because you were like kind of in my area at one point, but I was doing something else. Something came up.
yeah,
I still have a promise to keep.
yeah. Where are you?
I'm like in Pittsburgh, like I'm a little south of
Okay,
Pittsburgh, so
okay,
like
yeah,
like Gary and them, Exodus, they were in New Kensington. That's like an hour drive, maybe. That's not too bad. But
yeah,
that place called Preserving Underground, really cool
yeah.
place.
We played there. We
Did
played
you?
there, and we played. Yeah, we played in the small room downstairs.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I think that's the one I was looking at going to actually, but just something came up.
Yeah,
Then it's like I'm going to Hershey this year to see the Slayer show, which I can't wait for.
yeah.
Never thought I'd
That's
get to
cool.
say, "Oh, I'm going to see Slayer again." Never thought I'd get to say that.
Yeah,
Here we
awesome.
are.
Yeah,
uh, yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. But I can't wait to see you guys, especially. It's been like kind of on the bucket list. So
cool. Well, yeah. I mean, I hope that we're able to, do a lot of touring. We did a lot for the last record, and I mean, there's so many places that we still haven't, still haven't covered. We went to places all over the world that the band had never been to before, but there's always more. I mean, especially in the States, it's hard to cover every bit of ground. There are those normal touring markets where you go and you play, and then there are other places where you just there's not a lot of metal tours that go there. So those are kind of the places I would love to, I'd love to do more shows. I mean, Pittsburgh area, of course, is not it's not one of those. But like where
yeah,
I live in Little Rock, Arkansas now, and we don't get a lot of shows here. Not a lot of tours. So I did see Testament. I know Exodus played here, but it's starting to be more. But for a long time, like we weren't really getting those. It's just not a major market. So there's lots of places that we'd like to cover for the next record, and hopefully, I mean, really, we'd like to do a bigger tour. We had a couple of cool tours with Overkill, and then we did one with Symphony X last year, and those are good for us just because we're playing to bigger audiences, and like with Symphony X, that their fan base wouldn't necessarily know who Heathen is, so it was a good way for us to expose our music to them. And a lot of people really liked it. We have melodic vocals and harmonies and stuff like that. So we need to do more of that kind of stuff, and really, cover as much ground as we can for the next record. So
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm sure a lot of people that will be watching this are for sure.
cool.
I love that like technical thrash stuff. That's I like backgrounds kind of like in that technical stuff, even though it takes a long time for me to learn it sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I remember hearing like Dying Season for the first time, like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But like when Empire of the Blind came out, I listened to it in full like the day it came out, and just the guitar tone, everything like just hit right.
Cool.
So
Thanks, man.
I'm really
Well,
looking forward to this next one.
I think the next one's going to sound even better. I mean, the drum recording we got, the tones and everything, and then the rhythm guitar tone and everything. I mean, it's just everything sounded great so far. I can't wait to finish it and you know have it mixed and everything. So it's we're really excited about the songs, and our producer Zeus was stoked on all the songs, and so was Jason Bittner, and so very cool. Very cool to hear people already, that are hearing the demos, so to speak. I mean, they're final guitars, but everything else was kind of demos. And It's cool to hear people already digging it. So I can't wait to finish it and get it out there, and definitely taking some steps in different directions for the band. But I mean, every one of the Heathen albums is a little bit different sounding, so we got to keep trying to add to what the band can do instead of just hitting the repeat button every record. That's no fun.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
gotta change
it
it
can
up.
still be fun, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's not artistically, it's not as interesting.
Yeah, I agree. There's like some bands are pretty one note. Others like I like bands that change it up every album, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that really engages people a lot is when they do something different. Like, oh wow, never heard them do this before. Like this
Yeah.
actually works, and sometimes like it might not work. But like in most cases, if they drill down on it hard enough, I'm sure you guys have, it just works. Seems like a
Yeah.
natural
I mean,
evolution. You can't force change either. It has to be natural.
exactly. Yep. Exactly. We just write what comes out. I mean, we don't try to do anything in particular. Um, I think that when you force it or you just kind of paint by numbers, it just isn't as interesting. And at some point, of course, there are going to be people that liked one of the records that you did in the early days or whatever,
Yeah,
that might not like the slight different direction or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the bands that have always been the most successful kind of change a little bit and grow a little bit every time instead of just doing the same thing. Except ACDC,
yeah.
I like
ACDC could do it forever.
it.
Yeah, man. That's like one of the first like I was like what I think maybe seven when I first heard them, and I got into that.
Yeah,
So yeah, man. It's been a great conversation. Absolute blast. I'm looking forward to doing it again, hopefully at some point in the future.
yeah, sure.
It'd be
It's
a lot of
it,
fun.
yeah. I mean, I like the format. It's really cool. It's a conversation, and we're
Yeah,
just talking. You
that's
know, there's nothing pre-planned or
no, it's just
interview questions I've heard a million times. So for me, doing this kind of stuff is great. And
yeah,
anytime you want to do it again in the future, just let me know.
absolutely, man. Definitely. Just what a blast. Thanks for coming on, of course. Great honor as always. Talking to you. Just yeah, like you said, the goal is to just have a conversation, not be a
Yeah,
typical boring interview. There's a lot of artists out there that hate interviews, so
yeah,
you try to keep it fresh.
yeah, for sure.
All right, man.